Oh, we're on. Hi, everybody. My name is Amy, and this is my first video for my YouTube channel. I'm going to be spending this time talking to you about why I have decided to sign up to be a Beachbody coach, and also why I use their products, by giving you a little bit of background and also by giving you some information about the kind of community that I hope to create through coaching. So ultimately, I have a long history of not taking care of myself very well. I've always been like in shape physically, and have not always been in shape mentally. I was born genetically with, I guess, a high metabolism. I've always been really, really thin throughout my entire life. So like weight has never been a problem for me. But what has been a problem for me has been how I feel about myself anyway. And also just not having a very high quality of life because of my mentals, so to speak. I guess that's what the kids are calling them now, my feels and my mentals. So I spent a lot of my years unhappy, angry, sad, probably, mistreating my body in a way that luckily didn't manifest in too much damage, but at the time, like, it just was all bad. And so because I was not, my weight to me wasn't a concern. I was always, pretty slender. I didn't really work out. I was a cheerleader in high school, which was weird because it's really hard to be a pessimistic cheerleader, but somehow I made it through. Once I got out of high school, I didn't finish. I quit high school 3 months before graduation, and then left the state of Michigan, where I'm from, and moved to Kentucky and had a baby when I was 18, and just really struggled, and moved to Washington in 1998, and just was not doing very well, generally speaking. So I mean, I was maintaining, I was working. I homeschooled myself for 2 years, from 2000 to 2002, so that I could get my high school diploma, even though I only needed like half a credit to graduate. And then in 2002, I started going to community college, and I've been in college ever since. So I've been in college for 14 years right now. But while I was working on my undergraduate degree from like 2002 to 2008 is when I finally got my bachelor's degree. I was working just crappy jobs, and not taking care of myself. Just had a lot of not overt mental health stuff going on, but there was stuff going on. And so in 2008, I started my master's degree program in counseling psychology, and I also started working in the field at that time. I worked in a community mental health agency, in a residential treatment facility for people who have severe and persistent mental health disorders. And it was around that time that I was like, that was my first experience with people who have like really poor health, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're so impaired that they can't take care of themselves. That's why we have residential treatment facilities. But I was also noticing like the quality of the food that we serve them, and things of that nature. And periodically I would go to the gym or something like that, but it wasn't something that was heavily on my radar. And still like pretty thin, still in shape, if you want to call it in shape, having like a slender body frame. I graduated with my master's degree in counseling psychology in 2011, and I went to work for a different mental health agency. Same thing, community mental health, but doing it on an outpatient basis. And I also started working in substance use. At the time, I was a certified chemical dependency professional trainee, and ended up, getting that certification fully in 2014, and I got my licensed mental health counselor license in 2013. So probably like since 2011, I've been in the field doing the work that I'm doing now in some capacity. I started my doctoral program in counseling psychology in 2011, so as soon as I finished my master's degree. And I'm a going on 6-year doc student right now, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm currently working on my dissertation, about to start my internship, and hopefully this will be my last year. And so I specialize in, treating some pretty significant mental health problems along with co-occurring substance use disorders. And I see a lot of people who are burdened by these expectations that society has put on us to be perfect. I actually wrote my doctoral, I guess you might call it like a thesis, but it was my clinical competency exam, where I have to select a client of mine that I had been working with and basically present, like a therapy session and talk about my case conceptualization and my treatment and how I was working with that person, and basically how I conceptualized what this person's problem was. And it was perfectionism. And when this person came to see me initially in 2013, like that's what we worked on, and we worked together for a couple of years until I had to move on, and my training ended at that particular place I was at. And so I've spent a lot of time researching, perfectionism, cultural shame, this idea that we are not worthy or good enough until and unless we meet some sort of unrealistic standard that is pushed upon us by society and each other in some cases, probably in many cases. And what I see when people buy into that idea that I have to look this way, or I have to be this way or have this thing, is some pretty severe mental health problems and just this overwhelming sense of shame. And I want that to stop. And so I started doing Beachbody last summer, so in June of 2015, excuse me. And the reason I started doing that was because I was going to be going on this backpacking trip in August of 2015. That was a pretty big deal. I'd never been backpacking before, except for the year before in 2014. I went on a one-night backpacking trip with no training. I hadn't hiked before, maybe like a couple times here and there, but nothing like this trip. And so in 2014, I took a one-night backpacking trip and just about died. Not actually died, but it was really hard. And so when I won a lottery ticket to hike this amazingly beautiful place in Washington State called the Enchantments, I knew I had to get my butt in gear, and I struggled with working out regularly on my own. I would do it for a few months, and then I'd not do it for a few months, and then I would do it for a few months, and I would not do it for a few months. And for me, it was a lot of like, I need that outlet to manage my stress level. I deal with a lot of trauma in the work that I do, and I deal with a lot of just stuff on a day-to-day basis, specifically in community mental health, and just the paperwork and the bureaucracy and the red tape. And so I need that outlet to keep me well up here. And so in 2015, I started doing Beachbody in addition to doing a 10-week training program for this backpacking trip that I was going to go on. And I did it on my own with the help of those challenge groups. Like, those were crucial to my success. At the time, I also started drinking Shakeology, which for me, I don't use it as a meal replacement. I use it as just an additional way to get nutrients. and I feel better when I'm on it. It helps keep me, moving and gives me energy. And I work a lot, and so I need to be on top of that stuff. So fast forward, because I'm probably going to run out of time here. But ultimately, so I've been doing Beachbody in some capacity for the last year or so. I did my last backpacking trip in 2015 on Labor Day, hiked up Mount St. Helens. And then after Labor Day of 2015, I just, again, stopped working out. I stopped doing the challenge groups. I started, not anything like major, but it was enough to where I was like, stopped drinking Shakeology. And then in March of this year, I got back into challenge groups, and I've been doing them ever since. And my sister became a coach, and I signed up at the end of June to be a coach under her. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is literally building a community of women and focusing on like total wellness. I really want to approach this from that, body shame, body acceptance, healthy at any size type of mentality, because I think for women's well-being and the future of our well-being collectively, it's going to be necessary that we figure out a way together to be healthy up here, down here, and it doesn't have to be like super thin. It doesn't have to be like, that's not always healthy. And part of my goals in setting up this group, Be Well with Amy Michelle, is so that we can talk about it and start a dialogue, and so that we can, encourage each other and support each other. And I will be having, Beachbody challenge groups thrown in there, and those are completely optional. And I encourage people to check those out if you want to. But ultimately, Be Well with Amy Michelle is my way to get my message out to more people, to more women who need to hear it and who need to know that, it doesn't have to be this way. It just doesn't. And, I went down to UC Berkeley yesterday and took a class on preventing and treating eating disorders. It's a part of a certificate program that I'm doing. And I got a lot of good information about that and how to just be healthy and not focus on weight and things of that nature. And so, again, like, my goal in building this community is to keep myself accountable to me, to stay committed, to get the message out. I know people oftentimes just, like, they don't know. And I've been in college a long time for a reason. And there's no point in not sharing the things that I've learned in my journey with people who could benefit from having the information. And so, that's my why. Why I chose Beachbody to use is because, at least in my experience, it's just great. I don't have to think about what workouts to do. I can do them in my living room when my cat hasn't vomited all over the freaking place in my workout area. If you've been following me, you know what I'm talking about. And if you choose to be a part of this group, you will find out what I'm talking about when I say my cat vomited all over my workout area. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So ultimately, I want to share what I know with you. I want to share my experiences with you. And I want to build, like I said, this community of women who are here for wellness, and that's top to bottom, inside and out. And I hope that you will join me in some of these challenge groups, and it's not mandatory to be a part of this community. So it's just like an adjunct. And so what I'm willing to provide for all of you is support, encouragement, consultation, and just education, because I think it's really, really important. And hopefully, using Beachbody products and sharing my experience with you in that capacity as well, will help you to see how it can be of benefit to you to incorporate. It's basically like a home-based workout that you can incorporate every day, and it's about more than weight loss. It just is. And I'm going to share some information, probably within a week or two, about why weight cycling and dieting does not work. It just doesn't. And I'm also going to share some information with you about this theory called set point theory. So my goal is to like really, really give you a lot of information if you're interested in it. And, you know, part of my challenges are going to be more intellectual in nature. They're going to be like, yeah, let's do the working out, let's do the eating clean, but I'm also going to challenge your brains and I'm going to challenge you to be kind to yourself. And I'm going to challenge you to, you know, read this book and start a discussion with our wellness community. And I'm going to challenge you to believe in yourself. And I'm going to challenge you to believe in others, because when one of us does well, we all do well. And I fully believe in that. So at any rate, I have a lot more work to do before my next client shows up here. So I do hope that you will ask any questions that you have. I'm willing to answer any questions about my why or my journey, how I utilize Beachbody products into my daily life. I'm also hoping that you join my group. I invited a few people, but then I was like, oh, I hate doing that. So I really want people to be there because they want to be there and want to be a part of this community. So if you want to join my my Facebook group, which is not, it's not a Beachbody Challenge group, I will be incorporating that within that group. Again, like those are completely optional. But this is just, again, like a place where women can feel safe and can trust that you're going to be getting some information that I believe can be totally helpful to you. So the name of the group is Be Well with Amy Michelle. It's a closed group, so I'll have to approve you, which I will. So I wanted to keep it closed so that dudes couldn't get in. No offense, dudes, but this is a place for women right now. So I want to build a community of women who believe in themselves, who believe in each other, and who believe in wellness and health. So I think that's it. I probably should have taken notes and gone off of those. I'm not going to watch this before I post it, because then I'll, you know, say, oh, I got to do it again. This is my second take. So, but again, the group name is Be Well with Amy Michelle. You can find that on Facebook. And again, if you have any questions at all, you can private message me. You can ask on here. We can start a discussion online. But yeah, let's do this. I'm looking really, really forward to building relationships with you and, you know, helping you achieve a higher quality of life.